It was just an ordinary night. She was driving home from a charity event, tired but happy, thinking about nothing but her warm bed. Then the lights flashed behind her. She pulled over. She hadn't done anything wrong. She did everything right. Didn't argue, didn't fight, just asked one simple question.
Can I ask what this is about?
Ma'am, your taillight was out.
Sir, both lights are working. You can see them from here.
That was enough to set him off.
You people always got something to say, don't you?
Her heart started pounding. She didn't understand what was happening or why. She asked him softly.
Sir, what have I done wrong?
Step out of the vehicle.
Please, just tell me what I did.
He grabbed her arm and turned her around, pressing her against the cold metal of the car. Her cheek touched the steel, and she felt the chill run straight through her.
Stop, please stop, you're hurting me.
He didn't stop. His hands were rough. His voice was full of hate. He searched her without a reason, grabbed her phone like it belonged to him. And when his body camera light blinked, he turned it off on purpose. He smiled. As he took her to his car, she looked him dead in the eye and said,
You will regret this. My father is the mayor.
Lady, I don't care if your father is the president. Nobody's above the law.
But in his head, he didn't even believe her. He thought she was lying just to save herself. He slammed the car door shut, feeling proud of himself. He had no idea who she was. He had no idea he just ended his own life as he knew it. The charity dinner had gone well. Emily Carter smiled the whole drive home, thinking about the money they raised for the children's hospital. She loved nights like this. Nights where nobody cared who her father was. Nights where she was just Emily. She turned onto Oak Ridge Boulevard. The street was quiet. Streetlights lined the road like soldiers standing guard. Her phone sat in the cup holder, still open on a text from her dad. Proud of you tonight. Drive safe, she smiled again. Then she saw the lights. Red and blue flashed in her mirror. Her heart skipped, but only for a second. She hadn't done anything wrong. She checked her speed, under the limit. She checked her lane, straight and clean. She pulled over slowly, put the car in park, and rolled down her window. She waited and waited. The officer took his time walking up. He wasn't in a hurry. His flashlight hit her face before it hit anything else. License and registration. His voice was flat, cold, like she was already guilty of something. Of course, officer. Can I ask what this is about? He didn't answer right away. He just stared at her like the question itself was an insult. Did I do something wrong? She asked again, softer this time. You people always got a question for everything, don't you? Emily froze. She heard it clearly. She knew exactly what he meant by you people. Her chest tightened, but she kept her voice calm. I'm sorry. I just want to understand why I was stopped. Your taillight's out. She glanced back. Both lights were clearly on, glowing red against the dark street. Sir, both lights are working. You can see them from here. His jaw tightened. She had said the wrong thing, even though it was the truth. Are you calling me a liar? No, Get out of the car. Excuse me? I said get out of the car. Now. Emily's hands started to shake, but she kept them steady on the wheel. She had read about nights like this. She had heard the stories. She never thought she'd be living one. She stepped out slowly, keeping her hands where he could see them. Officer, I really don't understand what's happening here. I haven't done anything. He looked her up and down, like he was deciding something in his head. Turn around. Hands on the car. Why? I haven't. Turn around, he shouted. The sound of his voice cracked through the quiet street. A dog barked somewhere in the distance. Emily turned around, placing her hands flat on the cold metal of her car. His hands moved rough and fast, patting her down without care, without warning, without any respect for her body. She felt her skin crawl. This is illegal, she said quietly. You can't do this without a reason. I make the rules out here tonight, he said. Not you. He reached into her open car window and grabbed her phone from the cup holder. Hey, that's mine. Give it back. You don't need it right now. You can't take my phone. That's my property. He slipped it into his pocket like it was nothing, like her rights meant nothing. Emily's mind raced. She thought about calling her father. She thought about screaming for help, but no one was around, just empty houses and closed curtains. She noticed something small, the little red light on his chest camera. It had been blinking this whole time. Then it stopped. He had turned it off. On purpose. Her stomach dropped. She understood in that moment exactly what kind of night this was going to be. "Why did you turn off your camera?" He smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of a man who knew he was about to get away with something. "Because now," he said, leaning close to her face, "nobody's going to hear your little story." Emily's whole body went cold. "Please," she said, her voice cracking for the first time. "I just want to go home." "Should have thought about that before you decided to argue with me." "I didn't argue, I asked a question." "Same thing." He grabbed her arm hard and pulled her toward his car. "You're hurting me." "Stop resisting." "I'm not resisting. I'm not moving." "I said stop resisting." He shoved her against the hood of his patrol car. Her cheek pressed against the cold metal. She felt tears building in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not in front of him. "You're gonna regret talking back to me tonight," he whispered near her ear. "People like you never learn." Those words, "people like you," they echoed in her head louder than anything else he had said. He cuffed her wrists, tight enough to leave marks. He didn't check if they were too tight. He didn't care. "This is wrong," she said. "You know this is wrong. Save it for the judge." Across the street, in a parked car with its headlights off, a young woman sat frozen behind her steering wheel. She had been about to head inside her apartment when she saw the flashing lights. She almost drove away, not wanting to get involved. But something told her to stay. She watched the officer's hands moving too rough. She watched him grab the woman's phone. She watched the little camera light turn off. Her own hands moved without thinking. She lifted her phone and pointed it through her windshield, recording everything happening across the street. She zoomed in. She didn't make it obvious. She just let it record, quiet and still, capturing every second of what was happening under the streetlight. She didn't know the woman being arrested. She didn't know her name. She kept recording until the patrol car doors slammed shut. Inside the car, Emily sat in silence, wrists aching behind her back. The officer glanced at her through the mirror, satisfaction written all over his face. "You're gonna love holding cells," he said. "Real nice this time of night." She didn't answer him. She just stared out the window, watching her neighborhood pass by, wondering how a normal drive home had turned into this nightmare. They arrived at the station a few minutes later. He pulled her out of the car, gripping her arm tighter than necessary, walking her through the front doors like she was some dangerous criminal. The front desk officer barely looked up. "Another one, Mercer?" "Yeah. Resisting, disorderly conduct." Emily's head snapped up. "I never resisted. I never did anything." "Tell that to the judge," he said again, smirking. They walked her past the front desk toward the holding cells. Emily's mind was spinning, trying to think of what to do, what to say, how to make this stop. Then she remembered something. Something that might actually matter here. She took a breath and looked directly at him. "You really should have left your camera on." He laughed, a short, mocking laugh. "And why is that?" "Because you have no idea who you just arrested." He rolled his eyes. "Let me guess, you're Trump's distant niece." He said mockingly, "My father is the mayor." For a moment, the hallway went quiet. Then he laughed even harder, loud enough that a few other officers glanced over. "Lady, I don't care if your father is the president," he said, stepping closer, his voice dripping with mockery. "Nobody is above the law, not even the mayor's little princess." That was what he said, but in his mind, he did not believe it to be true, that if she was truly the mayor's daughter, she will not be driving alone at that time of the night. Emily's eyes burned with anger and tears at the same time. "You're going to regret this," she said quietly. "Sure I will." He opened the holding cell door and pushed her inside, not gently, not carefully. The metal door slammed shut behind her with a sound that echoed through the whole station. Emily sat down on the cold bench inside the cell, wrists still sore, cheeks stained with tears she could no longer hold back. She looked up at the ceiling, trying to steady her breathing. She thought about her father, about how calm he always stayed, no matter how bad things got. She needed that calm right now. She thought about the officer's face, his laugh, his words. "Nobody's above the law." She almost laughed herself through her tears, because he had no idea how true those words were about to become. Just not in the way he thought. Outside, in the parking lot, the young woman who had recorded everything sat frozen in her car, staring down at her phone. The video was still there. Saved. Untouched. She didn't know what to do with it yet. She didn't know if she should come forward. She had her own reasons to stay quiet, her own bad memories of dealing with police. So she did the only thing she felt safe doing. She saved the video, locked her phone, and drove home in silence. She had no idea that the woman locked in that cell was about to change everything, not just for herself, but for the man who had just made the biggest mistake of his career. Officer Ryan Mercer walked back to his desk that night, feeling proud of himself. He filled out his report, twisting the truth just enough to cover himself. He wrote that she had resisted. He wrote that she had been aggressive. He signed his name at the bottom like it was any other night. He had no idea whose daughter he had just thrown in a cell. If you've ever been treated like you didn't matter, if you've ever needed help and felt completely alone, you need to watch this until the end. What that officer did to her, he never imagined it would come back to destroy him. But what Emily did next will inspire you. Welcome back to the channel. Before we go on, just a quick favor. If you're enjoying the story, hit that subscribe button. You're about to watch how one cruel officer destroyed his entire life with a single bad decision. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is over there. Emily sat alone in the holding cell for what felt like hours, though it had only been 20 minutes. The cold bench pressed against her back. Her wrists still throbbed from the cuffs. She kept replaying the officer's words in her head. Nobody's above the law, not even the mayor's little princess. She wiped her face and took a deep breath. Crying wasn't going to help her now. She needed to think. A different officer walked up to the cell, a woman with tired eyes and a clipboard in her hand. "You get one call," the woman said. "Make it count." Emily nodded and stood up. Her legs felt weak, but she forced herself to walk steady. The woman led her to a phone mounted on the wall near the front desk. Emily picked up the receiver. Her hand shook as she dialed the only number she had memorized by heart. It rang once, twice. "Hello," her father's voice. Calm, warm. The same voice that had told her bedtime stories when she was little. "Dad?" Her voice cracked immediately. "Emily, what's wrong? Can you come get me?" A pause on the other end. She could hear him sit up straighter, even through the phone. "What's going on? Where are you?" "I'm at the police station, Riverside Station. Dad, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just driving home and..." "Wait, slow down. What happened?" Emily took a shaky breath. "I was arrested. I don't even know what for. He said my light was out, but it wasn't. He grabbed my phone. He put his hands on me. He said things to me, Dad, things he shouldn't have said." Her father's voice changed. It didn't get louder. It got quieter. And that quiet was more frightening than shouting ever could be. "Say that again." "He hurt me, arrested me for nothing. I've never been so scared in my life." There was silence on the line. Emily could hear her father breathing, slow and controlled, like he was holding something back. "I'm coming right now," he said. "Don't say another word to anyone. Do you understand me?" "Okay." "Emily." "Yes? I love you. I'll fix this." The line went dead. Emily stood there holding the phone for a moment longer than she needed to. Something about his voice had shifted her fear into something else, something closer to relief. 10 minutes later, the front doors of the police station burst open. No entourage walked in behind him. No security. No assistants. No cameras. Just one man. Mayor Daniel Carter walked through those doors like he owned the ground beneath his feet. His suit was still buttoned from whatever event he had left in a hurry. His face was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that made grown men nervous. Every officer in the room stopped what they were doing. The front desk officer stood up so fast his chair rolled backward and hit the wall. "Mr. Mayor, where's my daughter?" His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. "Sir, I'll get the chief right away." "Where is my daughter?" The desk officer pointed a shaking finger toward the holding cells. The mayor walked past him without another word. Chief Harold Bennett came rushing out of his office, straightening his jacket, trying to look composed even though his hands were fumbling with his buttons. "Daniel, Mr. Mayor, I just heard. I'm so sorry. We're going to sort this whole thing." The mayor ignored him completely. He walked straight to the holding cell, and when he saw Emily sitting there, something in his eyes softened for just a second. Just long enough for her to see her father underneath the mayor. "Dad, I'm here. The cell door opened. Emily stepped out and wrapped her arms around him. For a moment, neither of them said anything. He held her the way he used to when she was a little girl who had fallen off her bike. Are you hurt? He asked quietly. My wrists. He was rough. He said things to me. What kind of things? Emily hesitated. Racist things, Dad. And then he laughed when I told him who you were. He didn't believe me. The mayor's jaw tightened. He pulled back, looked at her wrists, saw the faint red marks left by the cuffs. Then he turned around. The whole station had gone silent. Every officer stood frozen, watching, waiting. He looked directly at the chief. Who did this to my daughter? The chief swallowed hard. Sir, let's talk in my office. I asked you a question. Officer Mercer, the chief said quietly. Ryan Mercer. At that moment, Ryan walked out from the back hallway, still holding a coffee cup, completely unaware of what was waiting for him. He froze mid-step when he saw the mayor standing there. His stomach dropped. His mind raced back to what Emily had told him at the cell door. He hadn't believed her. He genuinely thought she was bluffing. He was wrong. The mayor stepped toward him. Ryan instinctively stepped back. What the hell did you do to my daughter? Sir, I was just doing my job. I want to know exactly what happened out there tonight. She was uncooperative. She resisted arrest. I had to. Chief, the mayor said, cutting him off without even looking away from Ryan. I want the body camera footage. Now. The chief nodded quickly and turned to Ryan. Pull up your footage. Ryan's face went pale. There's a problem with that, he said slowly. What kind of problem? It malfunctioned. The chief's eyebrows pulled together. What do you mean it malfunctioned? The camera it wasn't recording. Technical issue, I guess? The chief's face turned red. He waved over the dispatch officer standing nearby. Check the system logs. Now. A minute later, the dispatch officer came back holding a printed sheet, his face unsure of how to deliver the news. Sir, the logs show the camera was manually turned off. Not a malfunction. Someone switched it off during the stop. The room went completely silent. All eyes turned to Ryan. I didn't, he stammered. You told me it malfunctioned? The chief said, his voice shaking with anger now. It's a mistake. I must have hit it by accident. I don't even remember. You don't remember turning off your own camera? Ryan had no answer. The mayor stepped closer again, his voice low and controlled. My daughter says you searched her without cause. She says you took her phone. She says you hurt her and said things to her that had nothing to do with police work. Is any of that true? She's lying, sir. She's embarrassed she got arrested, so now she's making up stories to save face. Emily's chest tightened at his words. She stepped forward. I'm not lying. Everything I said happened. You know it did. Ryan looked at her, then back at the mayor, then back at the chief, searching for someone who might still believe him. Nobody did. The mayor didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. If what my daughter says is true, he said, staring directly into Ryan's eyes, your career is over. Ryan's mouth went dry. But somewhere in his mind, a small thought gave him comfort. No footage, no proof. Just her word against mine. He almost smiled. Within the hour, 2 agents from Internal Affairs walked through the station doors. Captain Laura Mitchell led them, her face calm, her eyes sharp, taking in every detail of the room without saying much at all. She didn't ask loud questions. She didn't need to. She simply watched, listened, and wrote things down. The chief called Ryan into his office. The mayor stood outside the door, arms crossed, waiting. Inside, the conversation didn't take long. You disabled your camera during an arrest, the chief said. Then you lied about it to my face. Then you lied about it in front of the mayor. Chief, please, I've been on this force for 10 years. And in 10 years, you've never once thought about what happens when you get caught? Ryan said nothing. Badge, gun, radio, all of it. Now. Sir, please, I have a family. I have a son. You should have thought about your family before you decided to hurt an innocent woman and lie about it. Ryan slowly removed his badge and placed it on the desk. His hands trembled as he unclipped his gun and radio, setting them down one by one like he was giving away pieces of himself. When he walked out of that office, he wasn't a police officer anymore. He was just a man in a uniform that no longer meant anything. The mayor watched him walk past without a word. Ryan avoided his eyes completely. Later that night, the mayor sat with Emily in his car outside the station. She stared out the window, quiet, processing everything that had happened. "You can let this go," he said gently. "You don't have to put yourself through a long fight if you don't want to." Emily thought about it for a moment. She thought about the fear she felt with her hands cuffed behind her back. She thought about the things he said to her. She thought about how he laughed when she mentioned her father, and how he still might have gotten away with it if the camera hadn't been caught malfunctioning on record. She shook her head. "No. Emily, I'm pressing charges." Her father studied her face for a long moment, then nodded slowly, a small flicker of pride breaking through his worry. "Okay," he said, "then we fight." Back inside the station, Ryan sat in his car in the parking lot, staring blankly through the windshield. He had lost his badge, his gun, his job, but a small part of him still felt safe. Without evidence, he thought, nothing criminal will stick. This will blow over. It always does. He started his car, pulled out of the lot, and drove home, still telling himself the same lie he had told for years. They can't prove anything, he told himself. He was about to find out just how wrong he was. News travels fast in a small city, and by the next morning, everyone knew Ryan Mercer's name. A local reporter had gotten hold of the story. Not the full truth yet, just enough. Police officer fired after arrest of mayor's daughter. The headline alone was enough to spread across every phone in the city within hours. Ryan sat at his kitchen table, staring at his own name on the screen. His coffee had gone cold beside him. His wife, Rachel, walked in holding their son's hand, dropping him off at school clothes and lunch bag ready. She stopped when she saw his face. "What now?" He turned the phone toward her. Rachel read it slowly. Her face didn't change much. She had learned a long time ago not to show too much when Ryan was involved in something ugly. "Is it true?" "It's not what it sounds like." "Ryan, is it true?" He hesitated too long. That hesitation told her everything she needed to know. "I made a mistake," he said. "It got blown out of proportion." "You put your hands on a woman for no reason and you're calling it a mistake?" She was being difficult. "I was having a bad day. It happens." Rachel stared at him, and for the first time in years, she saw him clearly. Not the man she married, not the father of her son. Just a man who thought the badge made him untouchable. "I need to think," she said quietly, and walked out of the kitchen. She saw evening. By that evening, the neighbors already knew. Ryan noticed it the second he stepped outside to get the mail. Mrs. Patterson from next door, who usually waved every morning, suddenly found something very interesting to look at in her garden instead. He tried calling his old friend from the academy. No answer. He tried another one, straight to voicemail. He sat on his porch that night, phone in his lap, watching the street go quiet around him. Nobody wanted to be seen near him anymore. Inside the house, Rachel packed a bag for herself and Noah. "Where are you going?" Ryan asked, standing in the doorway. "My mom's, for a while." "Rachel, come on. You're gonna let one story ruin everything?" She turned to face him, tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. "You know what the worst part is? I'm not even shocked. I think some part of me always knew you had this in you." "That's not fair." "What's not fair is what you did to that woman. Maybe you deserve what's coming to you." Ryan stood frozen as she walked past him with their son's small hand in hers. Noah looked back at his father from the doorway. "Daddy, why are people on TV talking about you?" Ryan opened his mouth, but no answer came out. His son's innocent question hit harder than anything Rachel had said. The door closed behind them. He stood alone in his living room, the television still playing quietly in the background. His name still crawling across the bottom of the screen. Weeks passed, and things only got worse. His lawyer's bills piled up fast. Every meeting, every phone call, every hour of legal advice ate into his savings. He applied for jobs, private security, warehouse work, anything that would take him. Every application ended the same way. A quiet rejection, or worse, no response at all. He sat in his empty house most nights now, the silence louder than anything Rachel used to say to him. But even with all of that, he still believed one thing kept him safe. No footage, no proof. He told himself that over and over, like a prayer. He didn't know how close that safety net was to disappearing completely. Across town, Emily had gone back to her regular life, or at least she was trying to. She still went to work every day, sketching building designs, meeting with clients, trying to act like everything was normal. But some nights, she still felt her wrists ache from memory alone. The one place that still felt safe was Willow Bean Cafe. She had been coming here for years. It was small, quiet, tucked between a bookstore and a flower shop. The smell of coffee and warm bread always calmed her down. She liked sitting near the window with her sketchbook, watching people walk by, losing herself in her work for an hour or two. She wasn't the only regular. There was another woman who came in almost every weekday too, always sitting a few tables away, always working quietly on her laptop. They had seen each other more times than either could count. They had smiled at each other, held the door open more than once. One time, Emily had even lent her a phone charger when the woman's laptop battery was dying. But they had never actually talked. Not really. Today, Emily sat by the window sketching, trying to shake off a hard week. She barely noticed when the other woman got up from her table and walked over, coffee cup in hand. "Hey, can I ask you something?" Emily looked up, a little surprised. "Sure. I've seen you here so many times. I feel like I should finally know your name." Emily smiled, the first real smile she'd had in days. "Emily?" "Sophia." They talked for a few minutes, easy and light, about the coffee, about the little bookstore next door, about how the cafe always ran out of oat milk on Mondays for some reason. Then Sophia tilted her head slightly, studying Emily's face like she was trying to remember something. "This is gonna sound strange," Sophia said, "but I feel like I recognize you from somewhere, not from here. Somewhere else." Emily's smile faded just slightly. "I don't think we've met before." "No, I know, it's not that." Sophia paused, thinking, "Give me a second. It's on the tip of my tongue." They kept talking, easy small talk again, but Emily noticed Sophia glancing at her every now and then, like she was still trying to place her face. Then Sophia's eyes widened. "Oh my God, what? I knew I recognized you." Sophia set her coffee down slowly. "You were the woman that officer arrested, on the news." Emily's whole body went still. "You saw that?" Sophia nodded slowly. "Yeah, I was there that night." "What do you mean you were there?" "I was parked across the street. I saw the whole thing happen." Emily's heart started pounding. "You saw what he did to me?" "I did." Sophia's voice dropped lower. "I didn't know what to do. I've had my own bad experiences with police before, so I froze. I didn't come forward." Emily sat back in her chair trying to process everything. Part of her felt a flicker of disappointment, but she understood the fear. She had lived through enough of it herself to recognize it in someone else. They sat quietly for a moment, coffee going lukewarm between them. "I'm sorry," Sophia said. "I should have said something sooner." "It's okay, I understand." Sophia hesitated, glancing down at her phone sitting on the table. "I couldn't speak up then," she said slowly, "but I recorded everything." The words hit Emily like a wave. "You? What?" Sophia picked up her phone and unlocked it, scrolling for a moment before turning the screen toward Emily. There it was, the video. Emily could see it clearly, the flashing lights, her own car pulled over, the officer's rough hands, every second of that night, captured and saved, sitting quietly on a stranger's phone this whole time. Emily's hands started shaking. Tears filled her eyes before she even realized she was crying. "This is real," she whispered. "This actually happened. You have proof." "I do." Emily wasn't crying because she felt like she had won something. She was crying because for months it had felt like her word alone wasn't enough. Now, finally, someone believed her without needing to be convinced. Without thinking, she reached out and grabbed Sophia's phone, standing up so fast her chair nearly tipped over. "I'm sorry. I need to show this to my lawyer right now. This changes everything." She was already halfway to the door before Sophia even stood up. "Wait, hold on." Emily pushed through the cafe door and out onto the sidewalk, her mind racing, barely thinking straight. Sophia hurried after her, weaving through tables. Hey, stop." Emily stopped in her tracks, turning around, still holding the phone tightly in her hand. "You have my phone," Sophia said, slightly out of breath, trying not to laugh at how fast this had all happened. Emily looked down at the phone in her hand, then back up at Sophia, her face turning red. "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I just got excited. This is gonna help me put that awful man away and I completely forgot this isn't even mine." "It's okay," Sophia said, smiling now. holding out her hand. "Really, it's okay." Emily handed the phone back slowly, laughing a little through her tears now, embarrassed but relieved at the same time. "I'm so sorry. That was so weird of me. Honestly, that might be the most excited anyone's ever been to steal my phone." They both laughed, standing there on the sidewalk outside the cafe, the awkwardness melting into something warmer. "Can we go back inside?" Emily asked. "I want to hear everything, and I want to make sure you send me that video the right way without me running off with your phone this time." Sophia smiled. "Deal?" They walked back into the cafe together, sat down, and this time Sophia carefully sent the video over herself. They exchanged numbers, promising to talk more once things settled down. "Thank you," Emily said quietly, holding her phone like it held the most important thing in the world. "You have no idea what this means." "I think I do," Sophia said. "I just wish I had done it sooner." Emily shook her head. "You did it when it mattered most." For the first time since that night on Oak Ridge Boulevard, Emily felt something close to peace settle into her chest. She finally had proof. And somewhere across town, a man who thought he had gotten away with everything was about to find out just how wrong he was. If you're still here and feeling that satisfaction, hit that like button, because Emily is just getting started. Comment, "I see you, Emily," if you're rooting for her to take him down, and subscribe if you don't want to miss the moment he faces the consequences for what he did. The morning after Emily got the video, she was sitting across from her lawyer before the coffee even finished brewing in the office machine. His name was David Cole, a sharp man in his 50s who had handled cases against the department before. He watched the video twice in complete silence, his face unreadable. When it ended, he leaned back in his chair. "This changes everything." "I know," Emily said. "No, Emily, I don't think you understand how much." He turned his laptop toward her. "This isn't just proof of what he did. This is proof he lied. To his chief, to internal affairs. Under oath, most likely in his written statement. So what happens now? Now we make sure nobody can say this video is fake, edited, or taken out of context. We get experts to verify it, then we hand it to the DA's office ourselves before anyone can bury it." Emily nodded slowly. "How long will that take?" "Not long," David said. "This kind of evidence moves fast once it's real." 2 days later, a digital forensics expert sat in a small office reviewing the video frame by frame. He checked the metadata, the timestamp buried in the file, the GPS location tagged automatically when Sophia's phone recorded it. Everything matched. The time on the video lined up exactly with the police log from that night. The location matched Oak Ridge Boulevard down to the exact block. There were no cuts, no edits, no gaps. Just raw footage, untouched since the night it was recorded. "It's clean," the expert told David over the phone. "No tampering, no editing software used. This is exactly what it looks like." David thanked him and hung up, staring at his screen for a moment before picking up his phone again. He dialed a number he hadn't used in months. "Marcus, it's David. I've got something you need to see." Assistant District Attorney Marcus Reed had built his reputation on patience. He didn't rush cases. He didn't celebrate small wins. He let evidence speak before he ever raised his voice in a courtroom. But when he watched the video for the first time, sitting alone in his office late that evening, even he felt his jaw tighten. He watched Ryan grab Emily's phone. He watched him shove her against the hood of the car. He watched the exact moment the body camera light blinked off. He played it 3 more times. Then he picked up his phone and made a call. "I need a warrant," he said, "tonight if possible." Ryan didn't see it coming. He was sitting alone in his kitchen, same as most nights now, a half-eaten sandwich in front of him that he hadn't touched in 20 minutes. The house felt too big and too quiet ever since Rachel left with Noah. He still checked his phone constantly, hoping for a message from her. Nothing ever came. He was scrolling through old photos of his son when he heard the knock at his door. Sharp. Official. He sat up straight, his stomach twisting with a feeling he hadn't felt since the night at the station. He opened the door to find 2 officers standing there, ones he didn't recognize from his old shift. Behind them stood Marcus Reed, calm and composed, holding a folder under his arm. "Ryan Mercer, you already know who I am. You're under arrest for assault, unlawful search and seizure, and filing a false police report." Ryan's whole body went cold. This is a joke. There's no proof. It's her word against mine, that's it. That's all it's ever been. We have video, Marcus said flatly. Ryan froze. What? A witness recorded the entire incident from across the street. Time-stamped, verified, untouched. Marcus's voice didn't rise, didn't shake. He simply stated the truth like it was already decided. We've seen everything you did that night, Mr. Mercer. Every single second. Ryan's mind raced back instantly. The parked car, the quiet street. He remembered glancing toward it once during the arrest, seeing nothing but a dark shape inside, dismissing it without a second thought. He never imagined someone had been watching, recording, waiting. "Turn around, please," one of the officers said. Wait, just let me explain. I can explain everything. I was having a bad night. I didn't mean for it to go that far. You can explain it in court." Ryan felt the cold metal of the handcuffs close around his wrists, the same way Emily's wrists had felt that night on Oak Ridge Boulevard. The irony didn't escape him, but it didn't feel like justice yet. It just felt like the floor disappearing beneath him. "Please," he said, quieter now, almost begging. "I have a son. You should have thought about that before you turned off your camera." They walked him out of his own house in handcuffs, past the same neighbors who had been avoiding him for weeks. Mrs. Patterson stood on her porch, watching quietly as they placed him in the back of a patrol car. He caught her eye for just a second before looking away, shame burning through him for the first time since this whole thing started. At the station, they processed him the same way he had processed hundreds of people before. Fingerprints, photograph, personal items removed and placed in a small plastic bag. He sat in an interrogation room, waiting, his hands trembling slightly on the table in front of him. Marcus walked in and sat down across from him. Sliding a tablet across the table, he pressed play. Ryan watched himself on the small screen. His own voice, his own hands, his own cruelty, captured in a way he never thought possible. Now nobody's going to hear your little story. Hearing it back from outside himself made his stomach turn. He looked away before the video finished. "Turn it off. I think you should watch the whole thing." "I said turn it off." Marcus paused the video calmly and closed the tablet. "You're going to want a good lawyer," he said, standing up. "You're going to need one." News broke by morning. This time, there was no ambiguity in the headlines. Fired officer arrested after video reveals assault of mayor's daughter. The story spread fast, faster than the first one. This time, there was footage attached, a small blurred clip released to confirm the arrest, enough to show the public that this wasn't just accusations anymore. Ryan's old academy friends, who had ignored his calls for weeks, suddenly had plenty to say to reporters, distancing themselves as fast as they could. "I always thought something was off about him. He had a temper. Everyone knew it. Nobody stepped up to defend him. Not one person." Rachel saw the news from her mother's house, sitting on the couch with Noah playing quietly on the floor nearby. She didn't feel shocked. She didn't feel much of anything anymore, just a tired kind of sadness for the life she thought she had. "Mommy, is Daddy in trouble?" She looked at her son, searching for the right words, finding none that felt honest enough. "Yes, baby, Daddy's in trouble." Back at the station, Ryan sat alone in a holding cell, the same kind of cell he had shoved Emily into months earlier. The metal bench felt exactly as cold as it had looked from the other side. He stared at the wall, replaying everything in his mind. The traffic stop, the camera switching off, the arrogant smile he wore walking away that night, so sure nothing would ever catch up to him. He thought about the parked car across the street, the one he barely noticed, the one that ended up holding the only piece of truth strong enough to bring his entire life down. He thought about Rachel, about Noah's question that still echoed in his memory. "Daddy, why are people on TV talking about you?" He put his head in his hands, finally understanding something he had refused to accept for weeks. There would be no talking his way out of this one. No excuse, no twisted report, no convenient story to protect himself. The evidence was real. The evidence was clean, and it was enough to end everything he had built. Marcus's words echoed in his mind, quiet but absolute. "We've seen everything you did that night. Every single second." Ryan sat in that cell as the night stretched on, waiting for a trial he already knew, somewhere deep down. He had no way of winning. The random parked car, the woman he never noticed, the moment he dismissed without a second thought. It had cost him everything. And it wasn't over yet. The courtroom was full by the time Ryan was led in, wearing a plain gray jumpsuit instead of his old uniform. His hands were cuffed in front of him this time. He kept his eyes down, avoiding the rows of people watching him. Judge Eleanor Hayes sat at the front, calm and unreadable. The kind of face that had seen every kind of excuse a person could offer and had stopped being moved by any of them years ago. Emily sat beside her father in the front row. Sophia sat just behind them, quiet, watching everything unfold. Marcus Reed stood when it was his turn, calm as always, letting the evidence carry the weight instead of his voice. "Your Honor, we'd like to play the video for the court." The screen came to life. The whole courtroom watched in silence as the footage played. The traffic stop, Ryan's hands grabbing Emily's phone. The moment his body camera light blinked off, his voice, clear and cold, cutting through the courtroom speakers. "Now nobody's gonna hear your little story." A few people in the gallery gasped. Someone near the back shook their head slowly. Ryan stared down at the table in front of him, unable to watch his own actions play out in front of a room full of strangers. His lawyer tried, weakly, to argue that the footage lacked context, that Emily had been uncooperative, that tensions were high during any traffic stop. Marcus stood again, calm as ever. There is no context that explains why an officer would deliberately disable his body camera before assaulting an innocent woman, seizing her property without cause, and later lying about it in a written report. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The forensic expert took the stand next, walking the jury through the timestamps, the GPS data, the untouched metadata. Every technical detail matched perfectly with the police log from that night. Then Emily took the stand. She spoke clearly, steady despite the nerves twisting in her stomach. She described the fear she felt with her hands cuffed behind her back. She described the words he said to her, the ones that had nothing to do with any real police work. She described the moment he laughed when she mentioned her father, certain he would never face any consequences. "I wasn't scared because I thought I might get hurt," she said quietly. "I was scared because I realized in that moment that he thought he could do anything to me and nothing would happen." The jury listened closely, several of them glancing toward Ryan, who kept his eyes fixed on the table. The defense barely had anything to offer. Ryan's lawyer called a character witness, an old training officer who spoke about Ryan's early years on the force, how promising he once seemed, how this didn't reflect the man he used to know. It didn't matter. The video didn't care about who Ryan used to be. It only showed who he had become. Closing arguments were short. Marcus reminded the jury of one simple truth. A badge is not permission to hurt people. It is a responsibility to protect them. Mr. Mercer broke that responsibility the moment he turned off that camera, and he broke it again every time he lied about what happened after. The jury didn't take long. Less than 2 hours later, they filed back into the courtroom. Ryan stood, his legs feeling unsteady beneath him. "On the charge of assault, we find the defendant guilty." A quiet murmur rippled through the room. "On the charge of unlawful search and seizure, we find the defendant guilty." Ryan's shoulders dropped slightly with each word. "On the charge of filing a false police report, we find the defendant guilty." Judge Hayes looked at him without any pity in her expression. "Mr. Mercer, you were given a position of power and trust by this city. You used that position to hurt someone who had done nothing wrong, and then you lied to cover it up. This court sees no reason for leniency." She handed down the sentence. Several years, enough to make sure this wasn't a story that ended quietly with a slap on the wrist. As the bailiff stepped forward to lead him out, Ryan's eyes finally lifted from the table. They moved across the room, past Emily, past the mayor, until they landed on someone sitting quietly in the gallery. Sophia? It took him a second, but recognition hit him like a slow, sinking weight. The woman from the parked car, the one he had barely noticed that night, dismissed without a second thought. She looked back at him, calm, no anger in her expression, just quiet certainty. He realized, far too late, that the only piece of evidence strong enough to end his career and his freedom had been sitting silently across the street the entire time. And he never even knew to be afraid of her. The bailiff led him out of the courtroom. He didn't look back again. Outside the courthouse, reporters gathered near the steps, cameras flashing, questions overlapping each other in a wall of noise. Mayor Carter stepped up to a small podium that had been set up for him. He didn't smile. He didn't look triumphant. He looked tired, the way a father looks after finally being able to breathe again. This case was never about power or connections, he said. It was about accountability. No badge, no title, no position should ever place someone above basic human decency. My daughter is safe today because one woman had the courage to come forward with the truth. That courage matters more than anything I could have done as mayor. Emily stood beside him, quiet, watching the cameras but not really seeing them. Her mind was somewhere else, replaying the moment the jury read the verdict, feeling something settle in her chest that had been unsettled for months. It wasn't happiness exactly. It was closer to relief, the kind that comes after finally putting down something heavy you didn't realize you were still carrying. Weeks passed. The story slowly faded from the headlines, replaced by whatever new thing had captured the public's attention. But for Emily, the quiet that followed felt different than before, lighter. She found herself back at Willow Beam Cafe one afternoon, sitting at her usual table by the window, sketchbook open in front of her. Sophia walked in a few minutes later, ordering her coffee before sliding into the seat across from Emily like she had done 100 times now. They had grown close over the past few weeks. What started as two strangers who shared smiles and held doors had turned into something real. "How are you feeling?" Sophia asked, wrapping her hands around her warm cup. "Lighter," Emily said, "like I can finally exhale." Sophia smiled. "That's good. You deserve that." They sat quietly for a moment, the cafe humming softly around them, familiar and warm. "Can I tell you something?" Sophia said suddenly. "Of course." Sophia hesitated, staring down at her coffee before looking back up. "I almost deleted that video." Emily went still. "What?" "That night, after I got home, I sat there staring at it for almost an hour. I kept thinking about all the reasons not to get involved. My own bad experiences with police. The fear of what might happen if I came forward. I almost just deleted it, pretended I never saw anything." Emily's throat tightened. "What stopped you?" "I don't know exactly. Something just told me to keep it, just in case." Sophia shrugged softly. "I never thought it would end up mattering this much." Emily reached across the table and took her hand. "I'm so glad you kept it." "Me too," Sophia said quietly. "I think about how close I came to just letting it go. It scares me a little, honestly, how different everything could have turned out." They sat there for a while, the weight of that thought settling between them, at neither one needing to say anything else about it. Outside the window, the street moved on the way it always did. People walking by, cars passing, life continuing without pause for the two women sitting quietly inside. Both changed by a single night. Neither of them had chosen, but both grateful, in their own way, that they had found each other because of it. Emily looked down at her sketchbook, then back up at Sophia, a small smile finally reaching her eyes. "Same time next week?" Sophia smiled back. "Wouldn't miss it." The coffee shop stayed warm and quiet around them. Two friends who might never have spoken at all if not for one terrible night. Now sitting together, safe, seen, and finally at peace. Wouldn't miss it. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from and your favorite moment in Emily's story. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss stories like this one. See you in the next one.